Hello, Shanda on demand today. We're ready to rock and roll. So as you're jumping on, say hello. Let me know where you're tuning in from. Hello, YouTube. Hello, Facebook. Hello, Coach Yourself to Success. Hello, Mentor Me Love and 1%. I wish I could sing, but I can't. So I'm going to spare you this crazy moment of me singing. Okay. So I'm fired up. Why am I fired up? Because I'm going to talk about the 3 C's today. And the 3 C's today are going to show you how to have the courage to follow through to help the people that you're meant to help. And so it comes down to courage, it comes down to calling, and it comes down to commitment. Courage, calling, commitment. So I'm going to start with this story. And the story is that I was going to start with this other story, but I actually don't think I should start with that story. So I'm going to pivot. The power's in the pivot right now. So I have a great client that messaged me yesterday, and they're leading an event, and they said, "Oh my gosh, Shanda, there's all of these people with medical debt and going through, divorces, and I'm sure there's a lot of that happening, especially since." Unfortunately, with all the things that have happened over the last few years, we've had such a heightened sense of pressure. Right, y'all? We've had such a heightened sense of pressure. And that heightened sense of pressure, unfortunately, it brings up our character. And I don't know about you, but I definitely know that there are some real things in my character that need to shift. You guys, anybody else like that? Holly, Suzanne, Marilyn, right? There's definitely Rose. There's things in my character that need to shift. And when I think about all the ways to be able to create a result in life, I think about, first of all, people love it when I talk about identity. I'll put ID. You have an ID, like your license. People love it when I talk about identity because they know that a lot of our identity is cracked. Do you get what I'm saying? It's like what's wrong, Faith? They can't hear me? Can everybody hear me? Why is Faith going like this to me? Are we good? Can you guys hear me? Yes or no? Go in the chat. Let me know if you can hear me. Yes, they say they can hear me fine, Faith. Is something going on with you? Okay, great. So Faith was like going, okay, you guys can hear me. Okay. So we understand, most of us, if we're honest and we don't have a huge, ego, then we can be honest about the fact that there are things in our identity, the way that we think about ourselves, that is cracked. And I will tell you why I know that is because if you have a desire to make a certain amount of income, and you're not there yet, you can give up every logical reason possible, but I guarantee you the questions that you're asking yourself are closed doors. Okay, so in other words of saying this is realistic. A lot of my smart people, I always say smart people because I spent my whole life being told I was stupid, right? And so my smart people often don't understand this because they use the word logic. Okay, so hear me when I say this. There is nothing logical about making a lot of income. And you're on a runway, no matter which way you cut it. I said to my husband yesterday, I said, you know what? I said, I'm talking to people that are 55 years old, 57 years old. And even though we're not quite there yet, it's going to be like raising children. They're older. Right? It's like they start as these little babies. Before you know it, they're 9. Before you know it, they're 17. Before you know it, they're leaving the house. Before you know it, they're dating somebody, hopefully, that you love. You get what I'm saying. It just goes by like that. And this is why I'm so obsessed with this concept of runway. And I said, even though we're not 50 yet, I'm seeing people, like I know what it took for me to get here at this level of life. Took 14 years of focusing on my business to get here. 14 years. It's a long time. I don't have another 14 years. Do you guys see what I'm saying? Like before I'm worried about the fact that, I'm worried about the fact that my energy may wane. It may not, but I actually don't want to hear from anybody to water that down. I don't want inbox messages. I don't want anybody to tell me I'm okay, that I'll have lots of energy. I don't want that because I don't want to water down my urgency. I don't want to water down my urgency. I was listening to a friend talk this morning about money in the Bible. I'm into that stuff. So, you don't have to be into it to understand what I'm about to talk about. But he was talking about who knows what this is? Be, do, have. And it's funny because, again, I say this with so much respect. A lot of the smart people in your life that give you advice, when you look at their bank accounts, they've done well for the middle class. And if that's your goal, then that's okay. But I'm telling you, you should go past that. You should go way past that. Because a lot of people have is your property. And people will say, well, I own a house. That's not enough. Your house is an expense to you. And when you sell your house, you're going to pay capital gains tax unless you live in Puerto Rico. And then if you die, you're going to pay death tax. And you bought the house and you got a write-off, but after you got that write-off, all of the gain you're going to pay taxes on. Do you guys hear what I'm saying? Yes. And so no matter where you live, and this is the funny thing that I realized when we moved to Puerto Rico, is I went, okay, Florida has a better tax game, but they have a higher property tax scenario. Texas has got their things. But then when you add in the sales tax, the death tax, and all of that in the different states, you're all in 60% tax bracket. Like, it's just you're giving most of your money away, and yet we're taking advice by smart people. Listen to me here. This is really important because your identity, knowing your identity is cracked is great, because it means you got humility and you can be coached and trained. But make sure that you are taking advice from somebody who is playing an extraordinarily high game. B is your identity. So this is, who are you in the world? And I hope that you don't just settle for, I'm a good person. Who are you? That's connected to your identity. Doing is your activity. How do you go after it in a day? So today's whole concept and this whole week is about having the courage to go after it. And this idea that your property, like, it's good enough to own a home, and some of you guys don't own a home, that's totally okay. You 100% can buy income generating investments with your money and not own a home and make way more money than what it's ever going to cost you to own a home, because your home goes up in value, hopefully, right? And then another market gets hit in about 8 years, and then it goes down in value, and you lose all your equity if you didn't sell. But if you did sell, you're going to pay capital gains on it. So the whole game just keeps you roped in the system. This is why I don't do 401ks. The only thing I like about 401ks is if you get enough money in there and you can buy a stock or crypto or invest in something and have the gain go into the 401k and not pay taxes on it. Now I love the game. See, but the average person are not going to teach you this. And by the way, your financial advisor will not either. Very rarely. Very, very, very rarely. Because what they're doing is they're teaching you a game called the 401k game, which doesn't beat inflation. And guess what your goal is here? To not be making a lot of money. Because when you pull that money out, if you're making a lot of money, guess what? You're kind of screwed. Because you just deferred and deferred and deferred, and you made, do you guys get what I'm saying? Go look it up. Go look up. I'm not going to waste this live on this, but do not go look up when the 401k was developed. It was not developed to make you and I rich. It was not developed to make you and I comfortable. It was an incentive program to get us back into the market and invest in stocks, which most people don't even understand anything about the stock market, because most of us haven't even read a book or taken a course on it. Am I right or am I right? Put yes or no in the comments section, right? Most of us, yes, Robert Kiyosaki says no 401ks, 100%. But the challenge is that we're trained to go to this 401k. And it goes on. It goes on and on and on. And this is the problem, because we spend more time trying to take the easy route or the safe route, and every middle class person does this. And it's a bad game, because your goal is to actually make less. It's so stupid. I'm sorry to use that word, but I just felt like a total idiot when I played that game. Until I woke up and I was like, wow, I started getting around people that were playing a way different game than corporate America. And so this is not the game you want to play, which is why I don't put our team in 401ks, right? Because it makes no sense. Why am I going to train them to be part of that? And then I'm going to go off and I'm going to create my amazing life. And they're all going to have completely stayed on the rails when they were in proximity to what I know. It's not okay with me. Okay. So now get back down to be, do, have. How you show up, your character, will tell you what your identity is. Now, here's the thing. Your identity to money and income, which buys the property, is really, really important. So what if, think about the industry you're in, go in the comment section right now and tell me, what industry are you in? Are you in weight loss? Are you in God? Are you in, life insurance? Are you in real estate? Are you in network marketing? What are you in? Go in the comment section and let me know what you're in. Okay, what industry? And by the way, this is good for you to do. Esteban's in weight loss, Penny's in printing, right? Fine art, health. Keep going, you guys. Go God. What else? Are you into social media management, real estate? Okay, go in the comment section. The comment section, you should be blowing up the comment section. And here's why this is really important. If you're not blowing up the comment section, you're wasting the opportunity to create a joint venture partner, which means somebody else in your industry that might say, oh my gosh, like Carrie, you're into wellness. Well, I'm into wellness too. We should get together and have a conversation. But because you're passively listening, activity, which is connected to your identity, if you're passively listening and you're not commenting, I'm going to tell you you're passively doing life. And then you have this goal to create a lot of income, but you almost feel bad about generating more income. The word bad. And the reason why is because people told you that having more property or having more is like, life is not all about making more. Life is not all about the ambition of money. You're right. It's not. If you have it wired that this requires you to work your life away, it doesn't. See, actually learning how to create a different activity in your day to generate whatever the have is that you're supposed to have. See, God actually gives us the authority that comes from identity. If you don't know what your identity is, you don't know what your authority is. You cannot have authority over money. You cannot have authority over a big audience. You can't have authority over multiplying your life. You can't have authority and help people. Without authority, you can't sell anything. That's including helping, which is enrolling people you love to go after what they want in life. Do you get what I'm saying? So if there's somebody in your life that needs to lose weight and you have no authority and you can't get them to change the food they put in their mouth and working out, if you can't sell them on that idea, because you can't listen to them, if you don't know your authority, you don't know your identity, you have no authority to help anybody. But yet we have these big goals and aspirations, but then what we start to say out of our mouth is, well, it's not all about money. And I'm sorry, but it's such a cop-out. And maybe some people won't say that to you because they haven't figured out how to generate more, which is God-given. You are supposed to multiply. There's a lot of parables in scripture around this, but forget about scripture. Go to personal development. I have a personal development workshop, a leadership workshop. When you look at everything in personal development, spiritual, not religious, it's all pulled out of the scriptures. I try and say this to everybody all the time. Don't just settle for the law of attraction or the law of reciprocity. Go look for the whole story. It's written in parables, which is stories. See, we learn from stories, but when we can't learn from stories, it's because our mind is so blocked with confusion, but confusion is not of God. Do you guys get what I'm saying? So, or spirit. Spirit is not the author of confusion. You're not supposed to second guess yourself. So who are my friends that are second guessing themselves a lot? Put a number 2 in the comment section. You got a decision to make right now, but you're second guessing yourself. Put a 2. Put a 2 in the comment section, okay? So the reason why you're second guessing yourself is because you're onto something. Onto something. You are onto something, which means that you need to increase your activity. You need to increase your activity, and just hear me when I say this. Every mistake you make moves you forward. Every mistake you make moves you forward. I know again, the people in your life are going to judge you, and you're going to lose some credibility with the judges in your life that want to say that they want to critique the fact that you took chances. But if you don't take chances faster, you will miss the runway. So if you're second guessing yourself right now, this is actually an indication that you're on the right path. Okay? Because there is some spiritual warfare trying to confuse you. And so I'm going to tell you to start commanding your identity at a different level, and here's how you do it. So people will say, I don't know how to figure out how to make more money. I don't know how to figure out how to have more time. I don't know how to figure out how to get more support. I don't know how to figure this out. Okay? So if you keep saying, I am broke, I am exhausted, I don't have anybody at home that takes care of me or that will help, you are saying a closed-end statement. Okay, you will never, ever hear this from a high performer. You just won't. And I'm not saying you're not a high performer. I'm just saying maybe you're on your way to be comfortable. And the double-mindedness, the second guessing, is what the scriptures call double-mindedness. That double-mindedness will cancel out your miracle. If you hang out in it, it will cancel out your miracle, which means you have to make a decision. Right? So I always say money loves speed. Well, the Bible says be obedient fast. So you think you want to tithe, you want to give somebody money, do it fast. Right? Whatever you sow, you're going to reap. So you don't have to be in scripture to know this, because all the personal development, spiritual, not religious books have pulled all this out. They made it so easy for you to digest it. I'm just saying you should go back and learn the full thing, right? If you like that stuff, you should go back. There's a great Bible called the Passion Translation. And for you guys who are playing in spiritual, not religious, try the Passion Translation, because it'll keep opening up your mind, and it's like a great novel, right? You'll be able to hear it well. So my point in sharing that with you is that when you do closed statements, if you're next to me and say there's an opportunity for me to promote you to thousands of people, okay? Like next week, 1,000 people. And you're gonna have 1,000 people on a Zoom call, 1,000 people on a webinar, 1,000 people, tuning into an event, 1,000 people show up to a live event for you. And you have that opportunity, and you're sitting next to each other having coffee. I'm listening to, do you have courage? Do you have a calling? Which means I'll tell that from your communication. And what's your commitment level? Okay, you should write that down. Courage, calling, commitment. Okay. And I do this, and so does everybody else who's rocking it. You're being sized up all the time. And the sized up is, do I want to be friends with you? Do you want to be friends with somebody else at the dinner table tonight? Do you want to date? Do we want to date each other? Do we want to get married? Do we want to do business together? Do you get what I'm saying? And what happens is most people, even when they get into business with people, they cut it off short because they couldn't be bothered to deal with it. And then you look at the fruit of their life, and they've got running shoes on. I used to be that person, by the way. I had running shoes on in business. I had running shoes in relationships. I had running shoes everywhere because I was constantly in this. I just had a filter that just created confusion for me. And so I never really realized when I had great people around me that I could build with, because I had a hurt heart. Do you guys see what I'm saying? So you got to work your way through this stuff. So I don't quit anything, and I mean anything, until I hit the mark. And I will never stop doing that And there is nobody on the planet that could stop me from doing that, because I've just seen it enough times with my friends who have great marriages. I'm not taking advice from somebody that doesn't have a great marriage. I find it easy to do life alone. Super easy. I can be focused. I can do what I want to do. I can completely self-centered. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with being single. I actually think if you're single right now, love it up. It's super an awesome season to be single. But what I'm doing in life requires me to be in relationship with my husband. And that's complicated sometimes. Sometimes it's amazing and I feel like we're crushing it. And other times it feels like, oh, we're like hitting each other, like bouncing into each other. And that's why I have counsel around me that have great marriages. They have a ton of money in the bank, 20 million or above in the bank. And they've already built multiple companies of their own, not working for other people. Okay, because it's a different animal. Do you guys hear what I'm saying? Yes. So you need to write down what are the value systems that you need for the mentorship that you're going to get. That's really important. Okay, and you have to have the courage to do that. Everybody has a calling, but when we make statements that these things are lacking, we've got a major breakdown. So what do? When I don't have enough money, I say things like, I know there's a way to make the money. I know there's a way to find the money. If I had enough money or had enough resources, where would I find it or how would I get it? Do you guys see the very big difference between like, I don't have enough money? You can't speak like that, because if I ever hear you speak like that, I'm never going to promote your product. You know why? Because you're already capped in your leadership and you can't figure out where to go next. They definitely can't figure out if I front load 1,000 clients over to your business. Do you see what I'm saying? Like people be like, I want to have another baby, but yet you can't handle what the baby you have right now. Like you have to stop because you can handle it. It's what comes out of your mouth gives you authority or kills it. So now I want you to look at money, time, and support. And where's the area you have the biggest challenge with? Put it in the comment section. Money, time, or support. Money, time, or support. Support can be mentorship. You don't know how to do things. Maybe you have a spouse at home that you feel like you're fighting against. Maybe you don't have a virtual assistant or somebody to help you. So is it money, time, or support? Where's your biggest challenge right now? Money, time, or support, right? Time, support, money. Go in the comment section. It always freaks me out when I see this many people on live and like there's a few people commenting, because now we're back into passive activity. Right? Passive activity will not work. The way you do one thing is the way you do absolutely everything. Okay, so a lot of people around money and support, okay? Money and support. A lot of people. Some people on time, money and support. Okay, so I want you to hear the conversation that you've been saying for a while, the closed-ended statement, and I want you to promise me and promise the people around you that you will no longer say closed-ended comments. In other words, you're not going to create a statement that closes the door to your success. And a statement that says, I don't have enough time, I don't have the support I need, I don't have the money, closes the door. It actually says, I don't have to look anymore, because that is an exclamation mark. Okay, if you want to go past that, you have to look, if I had the time. I always say this for everything, I know there's a way. I absolutely have a deep belief that there's no problem I've ever faced in my life that somebody hasn't solved. And because now I hit my heart and my logic at the same time, it works. And so it keeps me out of ever having excuses. And what happens is then I increase the activity, right? Then I increase the activity. And when you increase the activity, be do have. So I handle my being, which is my authority, my identity. My identity creates my authority. So the reason why I become unstoppable is because I believe there's nothing that can't be solved. And I've got that locked in, okay? Doing is my activity. If I want that to come true, I need to increase my activity. So the word I use to that is I become obsessed. I know there's a way. 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 It allows me to not get knocked on my support so much where I feel, ugh. I mean, do you know how many people quit on you Do you know when people disappoint you that say they're going to do something and they don't? I just heard Steve Harvey say online, the man that you want to date or marry, make sure that they do what they say they're going to do. Right? I will say everybody that you do life with, men, women, whatever, notice how many people they change their course, or they come up with lots of great ideas, but they don't actually do what they say they're going to do. They quit too soon. Right? And so you can't be that person, because guess what? There's going to be so many people that are going to look at you someday and say, you know what, Crystal, I can't believe you made it. Holly, holy cow. Like, I wish I would have stayed partners with you. Lena, Tara, like I have a friend right now who Russell Brunson wanted to be in partnership with him. And he thought, he might be watching this live, but he thought, oh my God, this dude is more ADD than me. And he didn't actually stay in partnership with him because he judged it. Right? A great friend of mine. Look at what Russell Brunson's created. So be careful, because the person that has the endurance ends up having the income. And income can be, comes down to friends. It comes down to memories of so many great moments. It comes down to homes. It comes down to income. It comes down to just interest, like just so many great, I guess, memories, so many great memories. Like the more wealth you have, the more doors open. They just do. They just do. You don't have to say, no, I can't go on that vacation because I can't afford it. So I share all of this with you because I know you're facing something. You should be, because you're growing to the next level. Just don't allow anybody to make you wrong for the decisions that don't work. Because the last time I checked, the most successful people are not afraid of making more mistakes faster. I'll end on this. Elon Musk just did an announcement the other day on Twitter, which he bought Twitter, right? And he said to everybody on Twitter, we're going to make a lot of mistakes. He'll probably take that company down to maybe bankrupt. He's notorious for it because he's resourceful. Even if he runs out of money, he's going to say, how do I find it? Even if he runs out of time, he's going to say, there's got to be another way. Even if he fires the top C-level executives, which he's already started to do, or he brings on new ones that are not a good fit, he's going to be resourceful. So study the people that are at the highest level of life, right? The highest level of life, depending on what is important to you. Do not study the people that are necessarily relatable. Do not do that. Like, don't just inch yourself up to your uncle or your grandma or your dad. Like, go even past that. Because scripturally, we're supposed to get better than our parents. We're supposed to keep going. Part of their legacy is we get better, right? And so they're going to give us a certain blueprint that's awesome, but you're going to need to pivot and innovate that to the next level. You need to learn what they did was great, and you need to drop the parts of their plan that are not going to work for you. And you need to go to the next level. So if Elon Musk can make a ton of mistakes, and that's part of the culture, I'm telling you, it's one of the biggest things that's freed me up to grow what I've grown today and not apologize for everything that I have done incorrectly along the way. And I want that for you, because the reason why you're double-minded right now, or you're second-guessing yourself, really comes down to somewhere in your thinking pattern, somewhere in your identity, there's a crack that says that you're not resourceful, you don't have enough. And if you could flip that conversation today and out loud start walking around saying, I know there's a way to find the money. If there was a way to find the money, where would I find it today? I know that there's more time in a day. If I was going to create more time in a day, who would I need to hire, or who would I need to come volunteer, or what would I need to let go of? I know that there are people out there who would love to support me. Who are they? What would be the benefit of some people coming and helping me? I know that there is a way to overcome whatever mountain is in front of me because it's just deceiving me. It's not true. I walk around this room and I prime the atmosphere almost every morning. And I speak into it against whatever double-mindedness I am trying to take on. You 100% can build whatever you want to build. And the reason why you want it is because there's a calling on your life to do it. And don't expect other people to understand that calling except for the people that work with you. The people that work with you, they have some of this same calling. And the people that will work with you have some of this same calling. But you've got to be the type of leader that makes it okay to make mistakes on the way up, because the more mistakes that you make and they make and the people around you make, and the more acceptable we are to that, the more we take off the deception that we're supposed to be perfect or the whole thing's supposed to come together off the plan. The plan never works. It's never worked once. It's a joke. Every entrepreneur I know laughs at the banking plan that they give the banker. They all laugh at it. They're like, that's my intention. And they know the freaking thing won't work. You know who doesn't know that? The controller. The controller that sits in their box and says, this didn't work, and I've lost faith in it, and they give up too early. Don't be that person. So wishing you so much love today. I will see you tomorrow when we go live on Shanda on Demand. I'm going to talk about cross-selling tomorrow. Now, I want to give you an aha moment or an update. Not an aha moment, an update. I could be streaming live earlier tomorrow morning because we have got an appointment tomorrow morning, early in the morning, that I think is going to prevent me from doing a 10 a.m. Shanda on Demand. So if you jump on at 10 a.m. and I've got something pinned to the top of the page, then go ahead and just watch it. But I am most likely going to go live earlier than 10 a.m. tomorrow. I'm going to talk about cross-selling. And it's really important because you need to be able to watch in the pivots over the next few months and few years as we go into this really cool market called a recession, which should be called like resuscitate. You're going to resuscitate your life financially, and it's going to be fantastic. Things that need to fall away are going to fall away, and things that need to resuscitate, you're going to rebuild the wealth that could have taken years to do. You're going to do it right now in the next year. So don't be in isolation. Don't not be with a great community to study business in. Make sure you're either in our community, Meant to Be Live, or you're in one of the other great leaders out there that teach business. Make sure that you are training with somebody who's not taking a break. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want somebody who's taking a break right now. You want somebody who's actually all on right now, because it's going to be an incredible opportunity and you should get a piece of that. All right, my friends, talk to you soon. Bye.